Kate Obermiller. I own Escape Chandler, and we are Chandler's only family-owned and operated independent escape room. I spent most of my career with an alternative newspaper publishing company based here in Phoenix, and doing accounting and finance, and then left there after almost 10 years and went to different companies in accounting finance roles. And my last role before the escape room was actually working out of a place up in Show Low. So living here in Chandler and working in Show Low, I was flying back and forth every day or driving back and forth and spending a lot of time away from my family. And it just got hard on me, and I realized I wasn't happy doing that. And so thankfully, I had a real supportive husband who had said, hey, why don't you just take some time? You're miserable. Take some time, figure out what it is that you want to do, and don't worry about it. So I did, kind of did some soul searching. While we were soul searching, my husband happened to say to me one day, he's like, hey, I booked us an escape room. We're playing tonight. And I said, no, I'm not playing an escape room. And he said, yeah, come on, it'll be fun. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't like scary things. I'm super claustrophobic. I don't want to do it. And he said, no, that's not what it is. And, he explained it to me that, it's not a panic room, it's not a haunted house, and, it's puzzles and stuff. And so I went, all right, I'll do it this once. And we took our kids with us, and we went and played, and we had so much fun. We totally sucked at it. We failed miserably, didn't even get 30% through the room, but we were like, oh my God, this is the most fun that we've had with our kids in a long time. And so we started playing them around, and of course bringing our kids with us. And we ran out of places that would let us bring our kids with us, because at the time our youngest was 7. And I'm like, well, he's totally helpful. So, and I don't want to play without him because he knows stuff I don't know. He picks up on things. So anyway, so we started looking around, and we went, wait a minute, there's not even an escape room in Chandler, and why is that? And so we met with the city, and we're like, you guys not into escape rooms, or how come there are none? And they said, we'd love to have one. There's been people that have tried, but nobody's really been able to do it. So you're welcome to. You just, zoning and all that fun stuff. So me was saying, well, nobody can tell me no. If other people can't do it, I can do it. I'm gonna make it happen. So we just started researching business plans, the whole 9 yards, and we went, we can totally do this. We can do this. So here we are, this month, it's 2 years. It's been 2 years. And people still haven't heard about us because I suck at marketing. I had no idea about search engine optimization and rankings and all of that stuff, and how important every single thing on your website is to the Google bots and stuff like that. It was a hard lesson to learn. It took us a long time to figure it out, how it works. But that was really surprising to me. I thought, hey, if you do some marketing, we can create some, Facebook ads or Google ads, and we'll be good. But it's just not enough. So learning that whole side of it, I can't take total credit for it. My husband took a lot of time and figured a lot of that stuff out for us. But that was a big, unexpected thing that we had to learn. I think the insurance cost was a lot higher than I anticipated it being. And I think, underestimated how hard it was to find good people when I realized I needed to hire staff and I could no longer run it on my own. I started off with, some really great people, but, life's changed. People grow and they move on, and, this cycle of life happens. But it's very hard to find people that you can trust and that, are dependable and, hard workers, that sort of thing. That was a lot more challenging than I thought. If they are enthusiasts, they've played games, they love them, those are the best, hands down, because they know what it takes to be a good game master. They know what it takes to have a great experience and what a good customer service experience feels like. I meet the most hysterical people. Almost always I'm laughing with people. They come in a good mood, they leave in a good mood no matter what kind of day I personally am having. I can come in, run a game, meet people, and my day can totally be turned around. It really is great. I've made some great new friends, and just learned all kinds of interesting things about people and industries and all sorts of stuff. So it's never a dull moment, never the same day, never the same game. You know, it's always changing. Have faith in yourself and your idea. If you have an idea and you're sure that you can do it, in terms of executing it, then you absolutely can. I think there are a lot of people that don't get into business for themselves or into entrepreneurship because they're kind of paralyzed by fear. It's very scary. You do have to put a lot of your personal things on the line. It's super risky, especially if you have a family, leaving the security of a job, all of that. Those are all huge things. But I just kind of, you know, it was terrifying to start our own business and to be like, oh my gosh, I'm signing over potentially my house. If this thing fails, they're gonna take my house. Is it worth it? And I thought, you only live once. YOLO, right? So I was like, let's just do it. So if you have the support, you have a backup plan. Worst case scenario, I said, worst case scenario, I can go back and get a job. I mean, I'll have to work, you know, maybe 2 jobs to come up with, you know, the rent, if this place goes under, to pay off the rest of the lease and that sort of thing. If you really vet it out and think about the worst case scenario, then whatever happens will be better than that. And you'll be surprised. You know, a lot of times I think people think that, you know, to start your own business, you have to be this incredibly smart person and you have to know all of these things and figure out all this stuff on your own. The internet is a great source of information in terms of opening your own business and that sort of thing. But really, there are a lot of people running businesses out there that are like, I don't know how they put their pants on in the morning. So, you know, they can do it. You can do it. You know, it's just, I think there's this misconception that, you know, you have to have some secret knowledge or it's, you know, specialized education that you just don't need to have. You just need to just take the risk and jump in. And that's really, I think, and now in retrospect, here I am 2 years later, right? And I can say, I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it because the freedom is there time-wise, you know, I can be there for my kids' programs or, you know, take family trips when we need to, whatever. I have that freedom, but there is that additional responsibility, but the benefits way outweigh the cons in terms of being a business owner. I think the landscape has changed in the past year, certainly. There have been places that have closed, places that have opened, places that have struggled to open. I think, you know, at the core of independent escape rooms lies people who love escape rooms and love puzzles and that sort of stuff. And I don't think that that will change or go away. I've kind of noticed that the public's perception of escape room has changed a bit. Not necessarily in terms of, you know, once the game is a panic room or haunted house or some scary thing, but I think that the general public, just from my personal experience, I think that they don't expect as much out of escape rooms as we as owners expect out of ourselves. I'm very conscious to make sure that my puzzles make sense. There's no confusion for the players. I really hate the thought that somebody would leave one of our games and say, how would I have gotten that? You know, leave with scratching their head essentially and not knowing how they were supposed to get through it. And we've really tweaked our games and we really kind of take pride that there really aren't any of those in our games, or there shouldn't be. And if people don't understand things, we can explain it and go, oh, that makes sense. But I think the average player that I'm noticing, they don't necessarily care so much about that as much as maybe they used to. I think we're getting more enthusiasts playing back when we started, and now we're just getting first-time players and occasional players that don't care so much about that, if that makes sense. They're more about the ambiance than the puzzles themselves. I really wish that more people had the courage to just follow their dreams. I sat there for 4 or 6 months sitting around the house praying to God, what should I do? I want to do something. I don't want to dread my life every morning when I wake up. I want to be around, and in my family's, daily activities. I just wish that I had figured that out sooner. And if somebody is out there and they already have an idea or an inkling, just to have the confidence, just do it. Just do it, because at least you could say you tried if you failed, but you'll always live with regret, right? If you don't try it. And so I think you need to just say, I vetted this out. As long as you take the right precautions. I went through I spent so much time on the planning side just because I was so scared about, losing everything. I knew what was on the line. So I went through and said, worst case scenario, this is, we have a super high utility bill month, or, we have super high employment taxes or something. I went through and did worst case scenario for most of my budget, ran it out for 12 months and said, okay, this is kind of what we're at. And at the end of the day, but it was educated. I took the time to research and figure it out. So I think with that, doing that research comes a degree of confidence too. And when we revisited that after our first year, we were off, I'm not kidding you, $12. I was off $12 from my budget. So obviously a lot of worst case scenario things happen, but it wasn't worst case scenario things, it's weird things came up that I hadn't anticipated, postage and signs and toilet paper costs and hand sanitizer now, all those sorts of things. So I think if you have an idea and you vet it out, you should just do it, because you only live once, and the benefits are so awesome once you realize I can do this. You have pride of owning something, giving back to the community. That's a big thing that I'm really proud to say, is that we're the first escape room, in the community of Chandler, that let families come in and reconnect with their kids.